Hello, good morning, guests and colleagues. Thank you for the committees to give our teams the opportunities for the presentations in the innovative applications of the immersive VR technologies for the courseware developments related to the higher educations. And actually, you can see our project is composed by the multidisciplinary team at the Chinese University of Hong Kong involving both teaching staff and students. Okay, in this presentation, I'm going to discuss what is the unmet needs in the educations for the research techniques besides of the background informations. Next, I will introduce how the teams incorporate the use of IVR technology in care and the use of animal training. Lastly, we will share your tips for the way forwards in the perspectives. The background of our project. Okay, when we're talking about the immersive virtual reality, IVR, and I think now you are very familiar with that. Generally speaking, the IVR is the use of the computer technology to create a stimulated environment. Okay, here you can take a look of these illustrations with appropriate apparatus. The player is able to touch and interact and or manipulate with the objects in the virtual world. So what's the distinguished IVR from all preceding technologies to be chosen that is that the sense of the immediacy and the control created by immersions. Okay, so the feelings of presence or being there leads and games the virtual experiential learnings actually, which should be hostile to educate students' techniques training. So our teams explore the possibility for the educations. Okay, talking about the biomedical research, and actually it is the discipline is widely recognized for the importance of the community engagement. And actually, of course, it should be involved the applications of the new treatments from the bench to the bedside for curing of the human disease. So animal experiments is the crucial for the common practice. And animal experiment, and of course it is aims to investigate and understanding the mechanisms develops to how to kill the disease inventions in the drug treatments which is related to humans. Okay, under the curriculum of the biomedical sciences program, the students leads to educate the drug administration methods to animals, of course, especially to the rodents. So therefore, they need to know or to understanding how to hold the animals firmly with appropriate restraint scale with the sympathy during the process, or make sure the apparatus here shows you the feeding tube and whether it is appropriate to reach the intent site of the injections. Of course, the students should know how to protect themselves from beatings by the animals. However, it is a very controversial regarding the animal usage for the educations in teaching skill, right? Okay, why we need to sacrifice animals just for education purpose? In the decades, there are unsettled discussions in ethics related to animal welfare. Some arguments suggest animals would feel pain and suffering in the experiment, just like our human being. So, if it is unethical to do the experimentations on human, why on animals? So, strike a balance between the needs of the animals' experimentations, a well-known VR principles that have been work or established. So therefore, it is a good practice to design an animal experimentations, which is consistent with the worldwide ethical standards for improvement of the animal welfare. So namely, the VR first R is represent for the refinement, and actually it refined and seek out the better living environments to the experimental animal. Another R is refers to the reductions and reduce or minimize the number of the animals used, which can also skim the data significantly. Lastly is the replacement. Replace the animals by other non-animal models with the sustainable teaching methods. So here, our project comes into pictures. How we are going to use technology to address the unmet needs in the teaching. So start off, the team used the Bloom's taxonomy as the theoretical frameworks guiding the courseware designs and implementations for the pedagogical efficiency. Here it shows you the Bloom's taxonomy, which shows here is the sixth stage of the learning process. And starting from the basics here, remember understanding, applied, analysis, evaluate, or create. And of course, we educators are easy to deal with this. The didactic lectures or providing abundance experience in the practicals so that the student can learn to remember and understand. But however, thinking about the advancements of the technologies, how we can make the breakthroughs to develop the IVR courseware and move those steps in order to guide the students, emphasize in the group discussions, engage students actively, and they can collect data in line with the knowledge from their findings. And then so therefore, they can learn the skill cognitively. And of course, then lastly, the students can reach their high level of thinking for their competency in the health professional training. So concerning about the ethical disputes in the communities and the students needs to acquire the techniques, trainings, wins the hands-on experience, the moral development of the virtual learning tools is the ethical ways to protect the VR issue, right? Okay, the overall, the project objective is to adapt the developed IVR courseware so that we can explore the alternative teaching methods in animal training, targets in reduce the number of animal use or prevents the non-valuable purpose for the usage of the live animals. The other ones, we want to instruct the year two biomedical science students for the applications of the laboratory safety knowledge and also the drug administrations. Okay, so how are we our courseware to set up? Now, first of all, we use the Unreal Engine 4 software to create the sufficient 3D environments of the facility in our School of Biomedical Science Animal House. And also, we also build up the behavior object pattern settings. For example, picking up the animal walking around the experimental animal house, or pushing or selection or injection and so on. The next, we will choose the wireless HTC5 system. Here shows you is the backpack of the computer. So therefore the user here can wear it to have the free movement. And the other ones, the user needs to wear the head mask displays, and actually it should be composed of the two miniatures displays so that here it can generate the stereo view of the virtual world. And also most importantly is here shows you the motion tracker, and it is to measure about the positions or the orientations of the user or the learner's head in order to allow the image to adjust the scenes of the current view. And also, of course, here you can see the controller. The controller are the display replace the hands to interact with the virtual objects. And here you can see this courseware is the learner self game design. There is only one learner to play with the games at one time. So therefore, here you can see the digital outputs of the interactions response by the learners will also display to the monitor, okay, using the mirror class technologies. So teachers and the classmates or the student could simultaneously observe what the learner did. So the parallel teachers could take place of the commenting on his or correct wrongdoing actions. The contents of IVR courseware is divided into two parts. The first part here is named as the game level ones, and actually is be relates to the preparation room. Here, this column shows you the illustrations of the preparation room. So therefore, the learners needs to apply their knowledge about the laboratory safety knowledge. So therefore, they need to wear the gloves or to prepare all the stuff in the preparation area before entering into the second level. Okay, so therefore sometimes the student may do something wrong. So therefore we also alert them if they do something wrong, they should receive the warning card here. Here shows you the warning card. And the other second part is the game level 2, and it relates to the experimental room. Here shows you the illustrations of the game level 2 here. The students should learn about how the injections can do methods of the injections and how can they do the injections. Okay, so therefore here they can have the hands-on experience, virtual hands-on experience. I'm now showing you the demonstrations for the learners who did the drug administrations in the experimentary room here. Okay, so here you can see the learners hold the mice in the abdominal positions facing to him. He needs to identify the injections positions. After he identified the positions, he just pick up the syringe and then draw the drug into the syringe. And then he could do the injections with the intraperitoneal injection pumping according to the indications. After the injections, he placed down the syringe and then opened the cage and then put back the injection mice with care. So finally, we would like to express the way forward for our project. So now here you can see some feedback of our technical concerns in the design of the IVR courseware from our biomedical science. The most important, okay, thank you for your reminding. Okay, and most important question is here, how well could you concentrate on the assigned tasks, on the required activity rather than on the mechanism used to perform those tasks of the activity? Here you can see all of the students, about most of the students show confidence to concentrate on their tasks, assigned tasks. Okay, and of course, here you can see the student here concentrate on the assigned task here. He needs to kneel down. Why he needs to kneel down? Because he needs to pick up the virtual mice back to the cage, which the mice falling accidentally on the floor. So here you can see. So, and actually the course fulfills the efficiency learning. So therefore, concerning the technique training, the student can translate the book concept knowledge to the stimulate settings or familiarized the animal handling procedures, interact and then present the realistic scenarios and shared the learning experience with the peers concerning about the animal welfare. It reduces the animal usage and the animal sufferings relates to the VRs. And of course, there should be a challenge in the applications. Okay, currently you can find the IVR hardware remains the unlimited for the restrict free movement here with the limit confirmed space during the process of the simulations. Of course, some students may feel dizzy of the cyber sickness after the use of the head-mounted device, and because of the difficulties in the concentration and adjusting uh, with the virtual environment. And of course, students only play for the in-class activities with the technical supports. And of course, here is the very good simulations of this courseware. So our for this courseware, we have already adopted into our course, and also and this courseware also promote in the secondary schools in order to facilitate their learning in biology, and we also have the publications in the international journals, innovations, and the educations. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our CUHK's courseware development grants to fund for this project. And we would like to also to grateful for our School of Biomedical Science, in supporting our project development as well. I think my time is not over. Thank you. That's all for my presentations. I think it's time to open our discussions for any questions and comment. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Tan.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
There's a question in the chat box, so I can speak to you. So, is there a different for a group of students who uses the real animal versus the use of IVR app in terms of learning outcome?
Yes, during the practical class, they also have the chance to access the real animals, but only limit to a pair of a mice and a pair of the rat. Either in a they are both in the female and male of the mice and rats because they are from different species. So I will let them to take a look of the real life of the animal, but only limits to the retired animal.
Thank you. And there's some more. Do the learner prefer to use IVR through game for the drug administration, given the real injections versus using the IVR can be very different, especially with, oh, sorry, this, it was,
Yes, thank you for your. It's a good questions. And actually, of course, the student wants to have the real practice. But however, thinking about they are only the sophomore year two students, some of the students may not go to the research stream. So therefore, and actually, it's the good chance for these to gain the virtual experience in order to learn about the injection methods. Of course, for sometimes when they go to the higher forms to do relates to do some relations with the final year projects, they need to have the real trainings for the drug administrations.
okay. Thank you very much. I guess
Yeah, thank you.
the time is just right.
Yeah.